Welcome back to the deep dive. And a special hello if you're one of the C9 followers tuning in from the podcast or our business page. You know we love getting into the big shifts in tech. And today, well, we're talking directly to you, Australian business owners, C-level executives, because something fundamental is changing about how you get things done, how you achieve efficiency.
Yeah,
It's transforming.
it really is. And it's all driven by intelligence, artificial intelligence, and it's moving quicker than most people think. Our mission today really is to dive into some sources that lay out this coming revolution in business efficiency. We're looking specifically at autonomous AI agents, particularly within Microsoft Power Automate, and we need to be clear why this isn't just some future trend. It's becoming a critical reality, especially for the Australian market by 2026.
Yeah, exactly. I'm Lex.
And I'm Vera.
And we're here from the C9 podcast show, aiming to help you cut through the noise. You know the feeling, right? That daily grind. Workflows that just seem to drag on, operational costs creeping up, and, well, that constant pressure from competitors overseas who seem faster, maybe more agile.
Right, and that friction, that daily grind, it's more than just annoying. It's actively, eating away at your competitiveness. What the sources are pointing towards is this promise of intelligent autonomy. We're talking about moving beyond basic automation. We're looking at AI agents that actually anticipate what's needed. They self-optimize processes on the fly and handle complex tasks in real time. This kind of autonomy, it's set to completely redefine how Australian businesses operate very soon.
It almost sounds like sci-fi, doesn't it? But the data, the reports we're seeing, they say otherwise. So let's start with where things are now. Why is the kind of automation most businesses are using, those standard Power Automate flows, why is that already falling short?
Well, it really comes down to two things: scale and intelligence. Traditional automation, it's rules-based, simple instructions. You need a person to map out every single step, every condition, every possible exception. And if something unexpected happens, it just stops, grinds to a halt, which means people constantly stepping in, right? Approving things manually, fixing bottlenecks, debugging why systems aren't talking to each other. These sorts of linear flows, they just can't cope with the complexity we see today.
Okay, so that's the operational headache. But what's the big picture risk, the strategic danger for an Australian company sticking with those old ways?
It's stark, honestly. You face an immediate and rapidly growing productivity gap. We look at Gartner reports, and they're pretty blunt. They reckon enterprises without AI-enhanced automation could lag behind adopters by, get this, up to 40% in productivity by 2026. We're not just talking about doing things a bit faster. It's the difference between growing linearly and optimizing exponentially.
40%. Wow. That's not a gap you can just tweak away internally. That sounds like a competitive chasm opening up.
It is, exactly. And think about how that plays out in key Australian sectors. Mining, finance, healthcare. These industries have huge regulatory burdens, right?
Yeah.
Plus, often, remote workforces scattered across vast distances, complex data. When your basic automation fails there, the cost of human intervention, especially with compliance rules, it skyrockets. So that 40% lag, it gets amplified. It's fueled by those high operational costs. Data that's all over the place leading to bad decisions, maybe a lack of internal tech skills, and often, baggage from past vendor projects that just created lock-in, not real capability.
Okay, so rule-based automation is hitting its limits. That sets the stage for what comes next. This is where it gets exciting, I think. The rise of autonomous AI agents. What's the fundamental difference? What makes these agents intelligent compared to the flows we just talked about?
The core difference is independence and prediction. Autonomous AI agents aren't just following a script, they're actually solving problems. They go beyond simple rules because they use machine learning. This lets them make informed decisions on their own, predict potential problems before they happen, and then adjust the workflow automatically based on live data, real-time optimization.
That self-optimization part. How does that work safely? If an agent is independent, how do you stop it from, say, optimizing purely for speed but messing up something important, like a supplier relationship?
That's a really critical question. And it points to why the architecture behind this needs to be sophisticated. These agents don't just run wild chasing one metric. They operate within carefully defined rules, guardrails, and complex goals tied to the bigger business picture. So take supply chains. An agent might spot a late shipment coming from supplier A. A basic flow would just stop, fail. An autonomous agent. It assesses the impacts, finds production delays. It checks alternatives, suppliers B and C, looking at cost and past reliability. Then it automatically reroutes what's needed and flags the issue to procurement. all in seconds.
Right, and for these really complex scenarios, you'd need more than one agent working together, wouldn't you? How does the Microsoft ecosystem handle that kind of teamwork?
Yeah, that's where the integration with Azure AI becomes absolutely essential. You can't really do this without it. We're talking multi-agent collaboration. Think of it less like one flow and more like a team of specialized digital workers. One agent might handle incoming data, another focuses just on compliance checks, a third predicts risks. They talk to each other, coordinate through Azure AI, tackling tasks that used to need huge amounts of human effort. Things like predicting when machinery needs maintenance or performing real-time compliance audits continuously.
And the forecasts back this up, this shift towards agent-driven systems.
Absolutely. Forrester, for instance, predicts that by 2026, these AI agents will be powering something like 40% of enterprise applications worldwide. And they estimate these agents could deliver cost savings up to 30%, just from better efficiency and optimization. The pressure on businesses not adopting this will be immense.
We touched on compliance. For executives in Australia, things like data sovereignty, the Australian privacy principles, they're non-negotiable. When you have these agents working together in Azure, how do you ensure that data stays local and compliant?
That compliance piece has to be baked in from the start. The AI agents need to be built to respect data boundaries. So for the Australian privacy principles, it means making sure any data used for optimization, customer details, internal strategies, whatever is processed and stored within Australian data centers, that guarantees local compliance. The system has to be explicitly designed to handle sensitive data correctly, flag it, maybe even sanitize it before processing. That's a level of careful engineering way beyond simple automation flows.
That focus on proper, rigorous development seems key, because the potential of AI is huge, but so are the risks if it's done badly. If platforms like Power Automate and Azure are out there for anyone to use, how do businesses protect themselves from, well, shoddy work?
You've nailed it. The risk isn't the tech, it's how it's implemented. There's this phenomena we sometimes call the AI cowboy. Individuals or maybe cheap app builders who promise the world fast. They often rely on what some call vibes coding.
Vibes coding, what does that mean?
It means informal, sort of gut feel development, no rigorous testing, poor documentation, just trying to make it work quickly. The appeal is it seems fast and cheap up front, but it's incredibly deceptive.
Okay, so if a C-level exec gets tempted by a quick, cheap AI solution built on Vibes coding, what are the actual dangers? What goes wrong?
Those systems are brittle, like fundamentally fragile. They're built on shaky assumptions, not solid architecture. They will almost certainly break during routine Microsoft updates, and those happen all the time, or they'll fall over when traffic spikes. That leads to system downtime, which ends up costing way more than any initial savings. And worse, as the Australian Cybersecurity Center often points out, these shortcuts create massive security holes. They expose data, breach compliance. It's not just sloppy, it's dangerous. And they create dependency, not capability.
So that really begs the question for anyone listening. If you want the power of AI without that huge risk, what's the secure, strategic way forward? Businesses need solutions that work, that are verifiable, and crucially, that they actually end up owning and understanding.
And that's exactly where the approach needs to be different. Like at C9, our Power Automate developers focus entirely on rigorous, verifiable development. But critically, it includes mandatory knowledge transfer. We build governance. We train your team on the systems we deploy. The goal is for you to gain internal expertise, real ownership. It minimizes that long-term dependency on external vendors for every little tweak or update.
I get the focus on expertise, but Australian companies often face this choice, right? Local firms can be expensive due to overheads. Purely offshore teams might miss the local nuances, the specific regulations. How do you bridge that gap?
We actually designed our structure specifically to tackle that. We use a blended model, a hybrid team with both offshore and onshore experts. This means you get that essential Australian insight. We understand the local business context, the regulatory landscape, how your teams work, but we combine that with the efficiency you can get from optimized global delivery. It hits that sweet spot cost-effective, but without sacrificing the local understanding or quality. Plus, we ensure multiple resources for redundancy and really focus on partnership, not just being a supplier.
Okay, let's shift from the who to the how. If an executive is ready to bring in these autonomous agents, what kind of engagement models work best?
Well, we often provide staff augmentation, basically. Dedicated Power Automate developers, or even integrated teams that work as part of your own structure. Now, while we can do flexible monthly setups, we generally find and recommend a minimum contract of maybe 3 to 6 months. Why? That lock-in provides vital continuity. It cuts down ramp-up time, lets the developers really embed with your team, and frankly delivers a much better ROI than chopping and changing every month, which just fragments knowledge.
Right, continuity builds momentum. Let's talk pricing then.
Mm.
Always a sensitive point and a big area for potential budget blowouts. You mentioned the trap of indicative pricing. Can you unpack why that's risky?
Indicative pricing.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's one of the biggest traps. It's just a rough guess, right? Usually rounded to the nearest day or week based on, well, assumptions that haven't really been tested. Let's say you get an indicative quote for 5 days, maybe $10,000. Looks okay. But then the work starts. And suddenly, hidden complexities pop up, messy legacy data, systems that don't integrate nicely, undocumented processes. Before you know it, that 5-day job is actually 10 days. Your cost just doubled unexpectedly, and your budget is shot.
Okay, so if indicative quotes are a gamble, how does a good partner approach pricing to avoid that kind of nasty surprise?
We insist on what we call discovery-based pricing. It flips the risk. We actually invest time upfront in a detailed analysis. We map out the decision points, identify the barriers properly. Only after we've done that deep dive do we refine the cost, often down to the nearest hour for specific stages. So instead of blindly accepting, say, a $14,000 7-day indicative quote, a proper discovery might show the first critical phase needs just 20 hours of focused work, costing maybe $4,000. That delivers a quick win, immediate ROI through efficiency gains, and those savings. They can then fund the next stages of the project. It's much more controlled.
So that initial discovery call, it's not just a chat, it's actually the most important step for managing risk. Tell us how that works, because executive time is precious.
Absolutely vital. Not a time waster at all.
Yeah.
Our discovery process is staged to respect that. It starts with initial alignment, maybe 15, 30 minutes tops. Just understanding the core pain points, the strategic goals, what's driving the need for change. Like, are regulatory fines piling up? Are staffing costs for manual tasks too high?
Cool.
Then we move to a deep dive, maybe 30 to 60 minutes. Here we dig into the specific roadblocks, those legacy systems, data silos, existing vendor contracts, and the final step is a roadmap follow-up, where we present a clear, staged plan based on that analysis.
And staging the project, breaking it down, that's the key to seeing progress and getting value quickly, isn't it? You don't try to boil the ocean in one go.
Precisely. That's the C9 philosophy. Stage the projects. Start smart. Implement core AI agents where they'll have the biggest immediate impact, maybe automating a really painful compliance process first. Get that quick win, maybe slash the related cost by 20% in the first quarter. Then you take those realized savings and strategically reinvest them into the next more advanced phases. It lowers the financial risk dramatically and gives executives tangible progress to report back from day one.
Okay, so bringing it all together, what's the final thought for our listeners today?
I think the key takeaway is this. Staying competitive, certainly by 2026, means embracing intelligent, autonomous AI agents, especially within platforms like Microsoft Power Automate. But just buying the software isn't enough. Success really hinges on having an expert partner, one who's committed to building trustworthy, innovative solutions tailored specifically for your business, respecting those crucial Australian nuances and compliance needs.
And we at C9, as Australia's leading custom software, apps, integration, and database developer company, well, that's exactly what we aim to do, help propel your business forward using this intelligent efficiency. So if you want to unlock that efficiency, manage the risks properly, and begin your journey with custom Power Automate solutions, the next step is a discovery call. You can book one by visiting www.c9.com.au today. And finally, if you found this deep dive helpful, if you believe in getting this kind of knowledge quickly and thoroughly, please do click that follow button and maybe share this with other Australian business owners or executives you know who are battling inefficiency. We appreciate you tuning in. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.